Hey there, welcome to day 80 of our Let's Grow annual challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and today we're going to talk about and apply one of my absolute favorite tools. Why? Because it's so powerful and so effective to help us to get a picture or a view into ourself, right? Into oneself, so that we know what things are happening and why they're happening and what's connected and what's not connected. So today we're going to talk about the Lifeline exercise. The Lifeline exercise is like a timeline exercise, or a timeline that we used in school when we were growing up, usually in history or science or something, to talk about discoveries or big events or big projects and things. I've used timeline exercises for projects to help communicate them to people. But with the Lifeline exercise, what we do is we take a big graph piece of paper, and this is one I did a couple of years ago. It's very, very tiny. I actually have one of those giant poster board ones now that I use now, and I update it all the time. As I think of new events, I add them, and then I think about, well, how does that impact each of these different areas and aspects of my life? And every new year, I go back to that, and I add more to it, so I get more and more understanding of what makes me tick, right? We are our own greatest science experiment. I don't know if I've said that this year or not, but it's absolutely positively true, and it applies to each and every area of our life, especially our spiritual growth and development, because it's such a personal journey. Nobody else can do this for us. Actually, nobody else can do any of this for us. They can't take care of our health for us. They can't take care of our emotional well-being for us, etc. It's all up to us. So today, what we're going to do, and we'll do this for each one of the different areas and aspects of our life that we use in the Life Framer. But this month, since we're focusing on spirituality, we're going to look at the events. And I've already plotted my timeline, different events on the timeline. You may or may not have. If you've never done this, that's the first thing you do. You put the year you were born, and then I put 2024 and beyond, because I don't plan on this being my last year on the planet. And then a bunch of the major events you can think of. And it'll start out with maybe 20, 25 big events on it. And then you'll add and add and add as you realize different events that you don't even consciously remember pop into your mind. And you're like, oh my gosh, well, this totally affected my spiritual growth and development. One of the biggest events for me that had an impact on my personal spiritual growth and development, beyond my raising and my upbringing as a Catholic, was my sudden cardiac arrest. I had a sudden cardiac arrest, literally died on the floor of one of my businesses, which was an indication that my life was going the wrong direction, and had to be frozen and in a coma for a while, and then had to get an internal cardiac device installed so that I wouldn't have that happen again. That and a whole lot of lifestyle changes and a whole lot of self-examination and discovery to figure out what was I not balancing or doing right. And I don't believe in balance. I think balance is a myth that, I don't know, people try to tell us, oh, if everything's just balanced. But it's like, I'm not going to compare it to things I think it's like. But to me, balance is, what is balance, or what the right amount of time and energy to spend on certain things depends on what stage of your life that you're in. When I was raising my kids, there was no way my life was going to be balanced in the different areas and aspects of my life. And you can try, but it is, if you're thinking of balance as equal, I think maybe that's it. We just need to change our definition of balance. So then what we're going to do today is we're going to think about our spiritual growth and spiritual development and where we are or were at the time, because we're going back in history and looking and saying, okay, what impact did this have on my spiritual growth? Was it a positive or a negative? I have things that are a negative, right? My physical well-being went negative when I had that sudden cardiac arrest. So did a whole lot of others, but that one in particular went negative. Sometimes we put deposits in the bank account of our life. Other times we take withdrawals. And so this is kind of a visual way to see and examine that. So what's our action item today? Our action item is to grab a piece of paper if you haven't done this yet. And you can do it small. It doesn't have to be big and grandiose. Maybe you want to do it in like your day timer, or just on a piece of paper that you can carry around with you to remind you as you go about your days and business of different events that you want to add to your lifeline. And then we just write that down. And all we're going to do today is we're going to do that activity, which is fun. It's really fun if you make it fun. And then we're going to just share one observation, one thing that we notice about doing this exercise. Maybe we notice that it feels really, really uncomfortable. Maybe we notice it was easier than we thought it was going to be. Maybe we notice that there are triggers and cues to when we have spiritual growth and when we have spiritual decline, because we all go ebbs and flows of everything. All right, any questions, hit me up. If you need help, there isn't a write-up yet, but there will be a write-up in Guide 2 of the Let's Grow Annual Challenge, and somebody's story who I can't even remember yet, but there'll be a story in there. Also, if you go to the Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group, you can search Lifeline and you will get all kinds of examples and information about different lifelines and different lifeline, or how to do this lifeline exercise in the past challenges that we've done. I've done it every year for sure. And I think probably 5 or 6 times in both 2020 and 2021 when I did an every other month challenge, because that's how powerful a tool this is. All right. If you need anything, ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day. I'm hanging out with my granddaughters. I'm surprised my eyes are open because I don't think I got any sleep last night. And they're sleeping right now, which I'm very fortunate to be able to make my videos. But ask and have an awesome day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. When my slow connection moves.